It's a lovely evening and a warm welcome to Camnet Television. Camnet, not just another channel. We look at the news headlines. Zambia commemorates African Freedom Day. Mental patient murders Chama police. Step up efforts in great fight, TIZ. Zambia slowly being taken by foreigners, Dr. Richard Silumbe. Ndaishimie declared winner in Burundi's elections. I'm your presenter, Namwinga Mwinga. We now go for our first set of commercials. Don't go away.
Super cereal. Super cereal.
Super cereal.
We always start our day with nutritious super cereal. It's so easy to make. Just add hot water or milk. Fortified with essential vitamins, gives you energy and keeps you alert. Super cereal is so good for you. Comes in 3 yummy flavors: original, banana, and strawberry, and tastes so good.
Easy Super Cereal is made from non-GMO maize and soya and is good for the whole family. Found in all leading stores.
Super cereal.
Quick and easy.
Tastes delicious.
Super cereal. Full of goodness.
Makes you stronger.
Super cereal.
Easy Super Cereal. Brought to you by Java Foods.
You're still watching Camnet Television, and now the rest of the news. Zambia today joined the rest of Africa in commemorating Africa Freedom Day. President Lungu led government leaders and the diplomatic corps in laying of wreaths at the Freedom Statue in Lusaka today. Zambia is still going through a number of socio-economic and political challenges: poverty, gender, political violence, and corruption. Economically, Zambia is currently growing at about 2% GDP, which some economic analysts have viewed as unacceptable given its abundant natural resources, which includes the recent discoveries of gold across the country. However, President Lungu said that some acts of natural calamities hinder the country's economic development and reduction of poverty. He said this during his address over the nation prior to Africa Freedom Day celebration, which falls today, the 25th of May 2020.
Countrymen and women, our country and the African continent at large are also threatened by the acts of nature, such as floods, droughts, and outbreaks of pests and livestock diseases. Government remains committed to mitigating effects of these calamities in the most practical manner. With the support of all stakeholders, we will conquer and deliver a better Zambia for all. We will neither relent nor falter in addressing the root causes of conflict and its offshoots of poverty and social disparities. We will do everything within our power to deepen and secure the freedoms of our people and the peace they cherish, to improve their social and economic well-being.
Police spokesperson Esther Mwata Katongo reports that a 44-year-old male adult of Lusaka's Mtendere compound, identified as Chama Mpundu, is alleged to have been murdered by a suspected mental patient identified as Royd Chiola, also aged 44, in Chongwe district. The incident occurred yesterday, 24th May 2020, around 17 hours at Shibali village in Chongwe district. Mrs. Katongo says that the deceased is reported to have accompanied his friend Edwin Saili, aged 52, of Lusaka's garden house to Chongwe to visit his relatives. But whilst there, were they attacked by the suspected mental patient who is related to Saili. The deceased sustained head injuries as a piece of wood is alleged to have been used in the act. The body of the deceased is in Chongwe Hospital mortuary, while the suspect is in police custody. We now take our second set of commercials. Keep watching.
Savenda General Insurance Limited is a young and vibrant insurance company that is focused on changing the outlook of the insurance landscape.
At Savenda General Insurance, we believe in a quick settlement of claims because we believe the customer is the reason why we exist.
Such living proof motivates us to know that you can count on us to actually be there for you in times of need.
We have been able to pay claims of about 14 million kwacha.
Savenda General Insurance Limited offers aviation, agriculture, marine, fire, motor vehicle, engineering and construction, and miscellaneous insurance.
Come and see what we're able to offer, what we can do. You will never be disappointed because we are here for you.
For further details, call us on 0211 250 278 or 0955 555744.
We all know how important good nutrition is to grow up big and strong. Not only is cowbell milk enriched with 28 vitamins and minerals, it's also boosted by the 5 most important vitamins, which we call Vita-Rich.
It's got vitamin A for good eyesight development. It's got vitamin C to help fight infections. It's got vitamin D and calcium to help build strong bones and teeth. It's got vitamin E to help with body protection. And it's got vitamin K for general well-being and immunity.
For good health and vitality, only cowbell with Vita-Rich puts you on the fast track.
I've always been passionate about moving forward as fast as I could. Even as a child, all I ever wanted was to take first place at everything I could work towards. Whether I'm on the track or in the lecture room, my goal is to come out on top.
Growing up, we were always called Mafasho. You could say this paved the way for who we would become. We owe our success to our understanding of the power of storytelling, understanding what people connect to in order to give them what they desire.
We have always been passionate about people and honoring their stories. Our learning experience gave us the knowledge to channel our creativity into a business.
In order to start any successful journey, we must have a place to start. Even if that means we keep our mental image in focus as we become the inevitable solution to society's inevitable problems.
Which is why we all start our journey here.
You're still watching Camnet Television. Camnet, not just another channel. We continue. A faction of youths have appealed to President Edgar Lungu and other government authorities to address their unfulfilled employment promises. The youths, who have been keeping video outside China Aid, a construction company, for 8 months now, with the help of getting employed, claim that the president had promised them jobs once the company begins operating. They have alleged that China and construction company started its operations but has not employed anyone of the more than 700 youths. Efforts to get the comment from China and the human resource manager proved futile by broadcast time. Here is a report. While others are gathered celebrating African Freedom Day, others have made a gathering to demand for jobs that were promised by the Ministry of Housing and Infrastructure Development during the launch of this Chinese-owned company. The China Aid International Conference Center is being constructed in readiness of the Zambia's hosting of the African Union Heads of State Summit in 2022 in Lusaka. The minister, in his speech, announced that he will ensure that there is technology and skills transfer between the Chinese and the Zambian personnel who will be deployed on the site. Dozens of youths have alleged that they were also on the site where they were assured of contracts.
baleka kunu makulana bekala bonse bali but ba president balendo kubati wangere nshitwa palwa betira bayishe beko mkulando but tepalifire bomba
fina ti inchito tapari bacha abantu bambi bare isa mukushitashani mukuingira inchito twasaye kuchati nomba bare ingira shani inchito bachi muleto wachi inchito tapari nishi danshia ko bati oti ifo tuingeshiro mo tapari inchito bacha abantu bambi bare isa mukubomba nokusanda ti ngani ifyo inepanti ati muno muchalo tetu nanguni government ayingisha abantu tabengisha abantu bonse nchito
and we need the Lusaka province minister honorable Bowman Lusambo to come and intervene. We want the exact answers from these Chinese. We are not benefiting as a youth of Lusaka from this project. They're importing workers from Chipata, from Choma, from Copper Belt. What's the meaning?
Corruption hapa. Echala, mwanangu wale echala. Corruption ipo. Teo muntu waisa pano no aingiro. Pano no muntu waisa. Yo mapepa, yo mapepa. Kama kuna mapepa. Mapepa. Mulande na echala corruption ipo dirorine. Noti muntu afa kuchipata asaingira job. Afu mako ngai fa Lusaka. Asa chama chani manje. Mulande na wena wakabwana.
Today, 25th of May 2020, marks the 8th month since these people started gathering here as a sign of protest against the failure by the ministry to fulfill its alleged promises to this faction.
Because there's a full panga chongo, my guys. It's too much. Every time barabuye around one kala and every day kuchi. I'm very on chitum. Malaka mautu bantu bafunga ngina. Bantu bangati? 1,500. But pese gati. Abantu bale sombako bati. Bale fumani mkuchoma, mkukopa beuti bale ngire nchitum. Olonga malanda kumwa kulia. That's why the police waishi. Automatically abani corruption.
They have since complained of dire poverty in their homes and have called for attention from President Edgar Lungu to address their plight, further vowing to continue gathering on this site. Efforts to reach the ministry by broadcast time proved futile. Reporting for Camnet Television in Lusaka, Namwinga Mwinga. Citizens have applauded the leadership of Zambia and Africa at large for their continued efforts to uphold and promote freedom. The citizens say they are grateful that they are able to hold opinions without their rights being infringed upon. They have charged that they are looking forward for more freedom of seeking, holding, and disseminating information without fear or favor. Others, however, have noted that not everyone is free, citing inmates and those living in abject poverty. Today, 25th May 2020, the whole of African continent is celebrating Africa Freedom Day. Here's a report. Today, 25th May 2020, Africa commemorates freedom attained by leaders who had envisioned a union of free, sovereign, and democratic African states stretching across the continent from Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar. This day is celebrated each year across the African continent and as well as around the world in commemoration of today's African Union. The event is also held to celebrate and honor founders of the Pan-African movement, namely Kwame Nkrumah, Haile Selassie, Ahmed Sekuru Tore, Jomo Kenyatta, Kenneth Kaunda, Gamo Abdul Nasser, Walter Sisulu, among others. However, the African liberation also includes socio-economic and political expressions. In the same aspect, these people had to pay with an ultimate price that involved bloodshed and a lot of torture towards the freedom that is enjoyed today. But the question should be, who is enjoying the freedom? And what should the country look forward to? This is what the citizens have to say.
This is a day we tend to commemorate as a continent at large, not only Zambia but as a continent, and we tend to remember good old heroes that saved us to the liberation of freedom and being independent.
African Day chitandauza ti Mzambia timankala free kulibe nkondo kulibe vili vonse so vonse che bamankala free
bamunyine fu bamye bamufumu majere taba free bali abantu balikakwa taba kwata freedom so ifunga fu bali kuno kunsi tule muna twali free twali kwata freedom but freedom ya pulida kuishibe chebo chako ale sino kwata Yesu Kristo mukataka miyo Yesu e freedom day ile fai ko kuishiwa buno.
Freedom means being able to decide for yourself what to do instead of being told by another person.
African Freedom Day kulingana naye ne mumene nizivira ndiye day amene bajama freedom fighter amene banade kututandizira ko kuti no batuchose ko mubuzige batuchoke ko mukuluzuringiwa nabaja abantu bazungu.
In as much as Zambia is free from colonialism, the country still has a long way to go to achieve the socio-economic and political freedom. Reporting for Camnet Television in Lusaka, Namwinga Mwinga. The Zitikule Consortium, an NGO which promotes governance and provides checks and balances, has noted that African Freedom Day comes with mixed emotions and feelings. The consortium advocate, Mr. Nicholas Piri, says for freedom to be achieved, people had to pay the ultimate price, which which is bloodshed. Mr. Piwi has charged that the narrative that comes post-independence is disheartening, as Zambia is blessed with a lot of natural resources, yet people still wallow in poverty. Mr. Piwi has complained of the poor and inadequate health care in the country. He has further admitted that 55 years down the line, after independence, the media is still operating under extreme conditions. Here is a report.
African Freedom Day brings about a mixed, of emotions and feelings. In the sense that, you see, for Africa to get liberated from colonial domination, we paid with the ultimate price, which is blood and life. Our parents, our ancestors, who were fathers, uncles, grandmothers, aunties, and so on and so forth, had to pay with their life, with their blood, in order for us today to say we are politically independent. And that's a source of celebration. You reflect on that and you are filled with joy that our forefathers were patriotic enough to sacrifice their life and blood for the sake of Africa, for the sake of Zambia in this case. However, the narrative that comes post-independence makes very sad reading. Here we are in Zambia as a country that God in his infinite wisdom blessed with natural resources, plenty of land and water and minerals, and with only a population of 18 million. And yet the majority of our people live in abject poverty.
Mino Zitukule Consortium has said it is saddened by the murder of the Chinese woman in Chilanga. Consortium representative Nicholas Piris says such criminalities could be avoided if the Labour Office was proactive in ensuring that there is fair play in places of employment. Mr. Piri has noted that Chinese investors in Zambia are treated more special than any other investor or citizen, hence they are always breaching labour laws with impunity. Mr. Piri has since called upon law enforcers to ensure such shortcomings on both parties are curtailed. Here is a report.
Yeah, so we would like to call upon our government, especially as we celebrate the African Freedom Day, to reflect on the treatment that is given to the Chinese investment. We know that this country has got investment from all over the world. But when you profile the investment in this country, you get a feeling, real or perceived, that the Chinese investment is given a certain preferential special treatment such that they don't follow labor laws, they don't respect human rights. More importantly, they don't even respect citizens of this country. In the past 2 or 3 days, we have seen stories of Chinese confining Zambian citizens into some isolation facility because they feared, according to them, that if they let them go home, they would come back with COVID-19. And yet we all know that the origin of COVID-19 in the whole world is Wuhan, a city found in China. And we never restricted the Chinese from coming into the country. So I think that much as government has to look at all the labor matters across the board, there's a special need to look at the Chinese investment, because what is going to happen in the long run is that if citizens feel they are not protected by their government, the citizens are definitely going to take the law into their hands, and they are going to vent their anger and frustration on the Chinese nationals. And in the process, you risk denting and even endangering those Chinese that are innocent. But above all, you risk presenting a negative profile for the country at an international level, because people are going to think that Zambians are against investment. And yet, it is because of the deep-rooted issues that this country has not addressed. And so we need to ensure that Chinese are not seen as a special crop of people, because they are not special anyway. They are also human beings. So we respect them, and as far as they respect us, if they don't respect the Zambian citizens, be rest assured that what you have seen now, where Zambians are allegedly going for the Chinese, it will become a norm and not an exception.
We now take our next set of commercials. Keep watching.
The Cowbell Choco formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs.
Tasting Cowbell Choco gives you the get up and go to be at the top of your game. Now with Vitarich Plus Iron. Great tasting Cowbell Choco, a creamy chocolatey drink that helps give energy to get up and go.
Super Cereal. Super Cereal. Super Cereal.
Super Cereal. We always start our day with nutritious Super Cereal. It's so easy to make. Just add hot water or milk. Fortified with essential vitamins, gives you energy and keeps you alert. Super Cereal is so good for you. Comes in 3 yummy flavors: original, banana, and strawberry, and tastes so good.
Easy Super Cereal is made from non-GMO maize and soya and is good for the whole family. Found in all leading stores.
Super Cereal.
Quick and easy.
Tastes delicious.
Super Cereal. Full of goodness.
Makes you stronger.
Super Cereal.
Easy Super Cereal. Brought to you by Java Foods.
You're still watching Camnet Television. Camnet, not just another channel. We continue with the rest of the news. Transparency International Zambia, TIZ, has called on the Zambian government to step up efforts to fight corruption. TIZ Executive Director Maurice Nyambe says if corruption is left unchecked, it has the potential to decimate the economic, political, and social well-being of citizens in ways that makes it difficult to enjoy their freedom. Here's a report.
Africa is a continent that is awash with natural resources such as minerals, water bodies, forests, wildlife, and many others, and yet its countries remain one of the poorest on the face of the planet. Transparency International Zambia says this challenge has to do with the way those we have entrusted to manage our affairs across the length and breadth have done.
And as the local chapter of a global movement that has dedicated itself to fighting corruption, obviously TIZ takes very keen interest in the way that the Zambian government has been addressing some of these challenges, whether it be challenges to do with corruption, challenges to do with the coronavirus, challenges to do with our mounting external debt, and many other challenges really that beset us as a nation. And so in this regard, we would like to call upon the government of the Republic of Zambia really to step up their game, even when it comes to the fight against corruption, because we believe that corruption, if left unchecked, actually has the potential to decimate our economic, social, political, and even environmental well-being in ways that will make it very difficult for us as citizens to even enjoy the freedom that we are celebrating today.
Transparency International Zambia has further called upon African leaders to depart from the rhetoric that has characterized their response to the challenges of our time, such as poor governance, reducing civic space, corruption, and many others that have continued to ravage our continent and individual countries. Reporting for Camnet TV, Prudence Chota.
President of the Leadership Movement Party, LM, Dr. Richard Silumbe, says that the leadership movement has noted with concern the lack of land ownership by majority citizens. Dr. Silumbe says that today we are seeing thousands of hectares being auctioned to foreigners in the name of investors. He added that in 2021, the leadership movement does not want to see farmers dependent on FISIP, but have access to land ownership, which allows them to walk into the bank, get a loan, and buy inputs on time, preparing the land for the next farming season. Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD President Dr. Nevas Mumba says Africa needs to take charge of its limitless resources and leverage them to make Africa a greater continent. In his African Freedom Day message, Mr. Mumba says Africa is one of the richest continents, but that its greatest deficit is leadership. Dr. Mumba has since called on Africans not to unite and free the continent from its current bondage. Here's a report.
Well, this day predominantly reminds us of the war that was waged, or the efforts that were made by our forefathers to liberate Africa from colonial powers. It restricts itself to that definition. So Africa Day, or Africa Liberation Day as it was called earlier, and Africa Freedom Day today, reminds Africa that if we unite as a people and get tired of any kind of mistreatment, in that time colonization or slavery, we're able to get ourselves out of that bondage. At the end of COVID-19, Africa must take this opportunity to rebrand itself and refuse to be at the tail end of human civilization. I think in order to achieve this, Africa needs to get back its limitless resources and leverage that to make itself get to the front of the line. Second of all, we need to leverage our population so that we can go against the challenges that are coming against us as a continent. And I believe that the next Africa after COVID-19 must concentrate on new thinking and new leadership. If we continue with the same type of leadership that has been prevalent on the African continent the past number of years, Africa will go back to the end of the line again. Happy Africa Freedom Day to all of you.
We now take our final commercial break. Keep watching.
You admonished Prime TV and you took them off the air, and there is this.
Now I know that it sounds very juicy to say, oh, it's Dora Celia has done this, Dora Celia has done this. I have not attended to the appeal of Prime TV based on what IBA said to them, on the basis that when I called for the file, I ended up finding that their license had expired. On what basis would I be hearing an appeal? Now, just because you don't like the law, or it happens to be Dora Celia in the office and you don't like it, I can't help you in that case.
You lack disseminating information to teach the people, to say why we have taken this step. It's because of this. Education lacks. That I can tell you, because most of the people, they do things they hear just from the media, even on social media. It makes news.
You're very right, Pastor. We need to have a critical mass of Zambians who, when violence is whether by the UPND, PF, FDD, or whoever, they say it's wrong. Not if it's PF, they say, oh, it's very wrong.
Honorable Minister, from the time Chifungula was Auditor General, there are a lot of cases that she put things on the table, that this money went missing.
The Secretary to Cabinet has said, listen, PSS, let us now be very close to Auditor Generals so that we always inform them that what has happened here is because of this, because of that.
Thank you for staying with us. We now continue. Burundi's Election Commission has declared the governing party candidate Evariste Ndayishimiye winner of that country's presidential election held last week. The retired Army General won 68.72% of the votes, while Agathon Rwasa, the main opposition leader, received 24.19%. The body said on Monday, giving Ndayishimiye over 50% of the vote, thus avoiding a runoff. Ndayishimiye was picked by the governing CNDD-FDD party to succeed outgoing President Pierre Nkurunziza, whose controversial decision to seek a third term in the last election sparked mass unrest and an opposition boycott. The end of the news, a recap of the top stories. Zambia commemorates Africa Freedom Day. Mental patient murders Chama police. Step up efforts on graft fight TIZ. Zambia slowly being taken by foreigners, Dr. Silumbe. Ndayishimiye declared winner in Burundi's elections. We end the news with Jeremiah 1 verse 12, for I am watching to see that my word is fulfilled. This is Camnet Television, not just another channel. Thank you for being with us. Until next time, God bless and good night.